And as a disclaimer, don't go to Jamaica if you're of the same-sex couple.
This must be a conspiracy to sabotage Jamaica's tourist economy.
In this video, this couple, who are LGBT couples, give this disclaimer or advice to LGBT people who would like to visit Jamaica for holidays, and this did not go well with some Jamaicans, so they reacted to this disclaimer. So one man particularly reacted to their claims on social media discouraging people from visiting Jamaica. So let's keep watching this video as they explain their experience in Jamaica and this man's reaction to their experience in Jamaica. Then we'll come back here and discuss further about it. But before we watch the video, if you haven't yet liked this video, kindly like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Let's watch the video together.
Recently just had our 1-year anniversary trip to Jamaica, and as a disclaimer, don't go to Jamaica if you're of the same-sex couple. Now, to give a bit of background, we are black gay men currently living in London. We got married last year and we decided that for our honeymoon, we did not want to go anywhere too expensive because we spent a lot on the wedding. So we have been saving and looking forward to this big, extravagant 1-year anniversary trip. And I feel so sad that we made a decision that was meant to be so beautiful, but turned into something that I would say that I wouldn't wish on anybody. We love traveling to African and Caribbean countries because we as African men have been raised in an African household with black parents, and we never had the sort of opportunity to travel to those countries growing up for holidays. So now we have the money, we travel to Western countries, but we like to get rooted and grounded in culture, traditions, experiencing new things.
Yeah, we definitely want to travel to these countries to understand like what are the misconceptions versus what's the reality. Like, have you ever been to a country and you realize that like a lot of the assumptions you had about the country are completely different to what you experience? And I think that's part of traveling, learning about yourself, learning about other cultures. And we're not saying that we went to Jamaica with this idea that it was going to be super tolerant. That's not what we were expecting, but I think what we actually experienced isn't what we're expecting at the same time. I guess some of the highlights for us were around the food. The food was incredible. Like, trying jerk the first time, I say it's the first time with Boston jerk, that was amazing.
Jerk lobster?
Yes, jerk lobster. The natural beauty is incredible. Like the lush greens, the beaches, the scenery is amazing. Also the music, like everywhere you go, just hearing reggae music, like that is incredible. I actually was surprised how much we heard Bob Marley. I knew he was a legend, but I didn't expect him so much on our trip. And that made me fall in love with him again, as well as going to see his house for the first time. Like, that was incredible. I think they were definitely all of the highlights. There were two main lowlights from our trip. One is the feeling of safety. Like, we've spoken about PDA in our previous videos where we've been to countries where, of course, we can't display the fact that we can't publicly display affection for each other because, of course, it's frowned upon in those countries. PDA, we didn't express any PDA really, other than I think I fed Tosin some like jerk lobster in one of the restaurants. But other than that, we were very like hyper aware of the fact that we couldn't express ourselves from a PDA perspective. It wasn't even that, it was the hyper masculine energy that we had to carry ourselves around with, because we were in the streets and we were called homophobic slurs, and we called one of our friends who's Jamaican from the UK, and we said, is it what we're wearing? And we were looking around and the girls were dressing cunty as hell. Like, they were dressing cunty, like string bears. So it wasn't how we were dressing, but he told us that was actually how we presented ourselves. Like this hype, we had to present ourselves with this hyper masculine, almost aggressive energy when we walked around in the streets. And for someone who hasn't grown up in Jamaica, and for someone who's actually, for a couple who's actually tried to actively unlearn how to carry ourselves around that way, it was very difficult for us to like slip into that character. But we had to try our best, because if not, like when we walked around, like the looks, the stares that we were getting, this feeling of not being welcome was like very clear, to the point that our driver on the last day actually told us that he was essentially protecting us the whole time that we were there, because people didn't want to drive us around because we were queer. On the second point, hospitality. The hospitality was not it, like not it at all. Shout out to AC Hotel though, Marriott. The hospitality there was really good. G-Jam was 50-50 depending on who you got. But generally when we stepped out, the hospitality was not good. And when it was, we were pleasantly surprised.
We never stayed outside past 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Every night we got back to the hotel, had dinner at the hotel. Even if we got food takeaway in the daytime, we'll come back to the hotel. The only place we felt safe was in tourist spaces, like places that were popular, places that, and it's for us that was very unusual, because we like to explore the hidden gems, be at one with the locals. We experienced that in Ghana, we experienced that in Kenya, but this was different. I know we're saying all of this, but some of you might still be tempted to want to go to Jamaica and you're LGBTQIA+. So what we'll do is we'll do a vlog, give you an itinerary of every single thing we did while we're out there. I'll give you a breakdown of what our experience was, and give you a breakdown of areas and things you should be mindful of and be aware of. And then that way you can make the conscious decision.
Make your own decision,
Which is something we wished we had seen or heard about before we booked this trip. It's such a shame, because this was our first year anniversary and we made the sacrifice of not having a big honeymoon and waited a whole year for this moment, and it's sad. We hope that we can get to travel again this year and explore something new, experience something new that can make up for that. But it is what it is. You live and you learn, and it's not somewhere we'll be going to anytime soon.
Yeah. So tell us about your experience as well in the comments. If you're LGBTQIA+ and have traveled to Jamaica, or if there are like other Caribbean or African countries that you would recommend for travel, like share your travel tips in the comments and like look out for our.
As a disclaimer, don't go to Jamaica if you're of the same sex couple.
This must be a conspiracy to sabotage Jamaica's tourist economy. This must be a conspiracy to sabotage the Jamaican tourist economy. For real. Because nothing in this world can tell me that these men did not know anything about Jamaica before they visited Jamaica. Nothing in this world can tell me that these black men did not know anything about Jamaica before they visited Jamaica. From blood-clad England. This must be a conspiracy to sabotage the Jamaican tourist economy. And the question is, who are you guys working for? See? Who are you guys working for? Because guess what? Them always send the black ones. Them always send the blood-clad black ones. See? To our black country to come back and spread fuckery. No, sir. You black guys living in England would have to be living under a blood-clad rock to not know anything about Jamaica before going to Jamaica. Yo, now let me tell you something about your wonderful England. See, your lovely people from England. A few centuries ago, they invented a law called the Buggery Act. The Buggery Act was punishable by death. You see me? The Buggery Act was punishable by death. Meaning, if they catch anyone practicing the lifestyle that you guys are practicing now, their punishment was death. And guess what? They killed a lot of people in England for that shit. You see me I say? No, as you know, it was the English who colonized Jamaica, and they left that boogery law in the Jamaican law books. You see me? Now let me tell you what your British people, your wonderful English people used to do to my black people in Jamaica during slavery. Okay? On some plantations, if there was a slave that other slaves look up to as a leader, your British people, the slave masters, would get that slave, tie him up to a tree stump and bend him over in public and R.A.P.E. him in front of everybody. You see me? To show dominance, to keep him in line and to break his spirit, and also to warn other slaves. See? Warn other slaves of what would happen if and when they got out of line. You see me? And that would make other slaves stop looking up to that slave. Sometimes, guess what that slave would do? Run away. That's what some of them did. Run away and killed themselves. Yes, your slave masters, your British people, would perform boogery. On the slaves. So they did not only rape the women, they performed boogery on the men. You see me? So, if we as Jamaicans cannot get over that for centuries or years now, you can't blame us. Blame your British people for that. And just leave us the fuck alone. That me I talk about. You see me?
Welcome back. So in this video, this LGBT couple who live in London decided that they were going to travel to Jamaica for their 1 year anniversary or their 1 year honeymoon. That is, they got married a year before in London, and they decided that they were going to travel to Jamaica for their honeymoon. But they summed this up as a disclaimer in order to prevent other LGBT couples from going to Jamaica. Now, before we move on to that part, these are some of the things that they said they like about Jamaica before we come to the thing that they do not like or detest about Jamaica. They said that they like the music in Jamaica, that is the reggae music that is played everywhere around the world. Also, they talked about the food of Jamaica, which they also enjoy very, very much. And then to the lush greenery scenery in Jamaica, the beautiful beaches and all the greenery in Jamaica. they also said that they like this. Now, the part that they did not like is the feeling of safety. They did not feel safe in the country of Jamaica. Now, he says that they did not spend any time beyond 5 p.m. outside their hotel. Whenever they go to any tourist sites, they make sure that they return to the hotel where they stay before it is 5 p.m. and they take their meals and do everything in the hotel and do not go outside beyond 5 p.m. So they did not feel safe in the country of Jamaica. As to why they did not feel safe, they were not able to give precise details into it. Also, they stated that they did not display publicly their affections. That is, there was no PD, that's public display of affection. And I believe before going into Jamaica, they knew that the laws of Jamaica was against the LGBT, so definitely they will not be able to publicly display affection. And I believe that they knew this before going to Jamaica. Now, as they stated, that when they walk around, there are people who look at them in some way which make them feel, I would say, insecure or something. So they had to call a friend back in London in order to ask. And he says probably it's because of the way they dress or things like that. So they had to fit into a character of a hyper masculine man and then move around in that character, which they were not fitting into that character, obviously. Now, they said that they had wanted to experience hospitality with the locals, just as they experience in other African countries like Ghana, Kenya. And this is where I have a bit of a problem. If you have been able to visit African countries like Ghana and Kenya, which are also against LGBT, and you have been able to experience hospitality, they have received you well and all that, I think it wouldn't be so different from that of the country of Jamaica, because I believe the culture and how people are being received in most African countries is almost the same as how you are being received in Jamaica. So I did not expect them to experience anything different. But that is what they said they felt. They did not feel safe in the country of Jamaica, and they are giving out this disclaimer. So this Jamaican man also came in order to counter their disclaimer that they are putting up, because he believes that that will undermine the tourism industry in the country of Jamaica and prevent some group of people from coming into the country of Jamaica for tourism. Let me know what you also think about this in the comment section below. Share your general thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and other social media platforms as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click as well on the notification bell. And I would like to see you again in my next video.